Assalamu alaikum once again to Step 3 students and also to the fans on YouTube channel. The reason I decided to teach you conditional clauses one by one is that because students become confused when two or three conditional clauses are taught at the same time. They kind of mix them. They kind of, instead of zero, they think about type 1. Instead of type 1, they think about type 2. So I decided to make it even easier for you, okay? And let me tell you this. Learning conditional clauses is extremely important for English learners. If you learn all the conditional clauses correctly, and you can use them correctly in your sentences, trust me, it will improve your fluency a lot. Why? Because conditional clauses are used very, very repeatedly in spoken English. They're very common in spoken English. Okay? So the first topic is your conditional clause. I'm going to give you all the explanation that you need to learn how to use conditional clause 0, where to use it, how to use it. So I'm gonna explain the structure first, okay? And then I'm going to explain the concept, what the concept is. Why do we need, conditional clause? What it expresses. You got it? So first, the structure. If it's 0 conditional clause, obviously a conditional clause is a dependent clause. First of all, you should know this. It is always used as a part of a complex sentence. It is always used as a part of a complex sentence. It cannot be used alone. If it is used alone, it means nothing. If I have a lot of money, if I have a lot of money, if I have free time, does it give you any complete meaning? No. Why? Because it is a dependent clause. So now, if I have free time, I read books. This is a complex sentence. It's the combination of two clauses. How many clauses? Two clauses. So here, if I have free time, it is your conditional clause, adverb clause of condition. And it is a dependent clause. It cannot stand alone by itself. It does not give a complete meaning by itself. And the reason we say it is a subordinate clause because it starts with the subordinate conjunction, okay? And the other clause is independent clause or main clause. It can stand alone as a simple sentence. We can say, I read books a lot. So it's a simple sentence. Okay. The reason we say it's a clause here because it is used as a part of a complex sentence. So in a complex sentence, we have two clauses: main clause or independent clause, adverb clause or subordinate clause. Okay, or dependent clause. There are three different names. Okay. Rule number 1: if you want to use your conditional clause first, which starts with if, conjunction if, you need a comma before you start your independent clause. But if you want to bring your main clause first, the conjunction if goes to the middle of your sentence, you don't need any comma. Okay. Rule number 2. Most commonly, when we use 0 conditional clause in a complex sentence, there should be simple present tense in if clause and simple present tense in the main clause. In both clauses, you need simple present tense. There could be present continuous tense. There could be, any other present tense. But most of the times, simple present tense with simple present tense. We cannot use any future tense in one of these two clauses. We cannot use any past tense in one of these two clauses. Understood? So it was also part of the structure, because first you need to learn the structure. How to structure, how to make, a sentence correctly. That's important for us. And now we will talk about the concept as well. But one more thing I want to tell you is that if it's 0 conditional clause, instead of if, conjunction if, you may use when or whenever as well. Whenever I have free time, I read books. When I have free time, I read books. That's possible, just in 0 conditional clause, okay? And there's another word, whether. Whether also means if, but it's not very, very common in daily English, okay? But if you want to use it, it's okay. Instead of if, you can say whether I have free time, I read books. It sounds kind of like more formal and kind of like, not very common. So this was all about the structure. I hope now you know that a conditional clause is used as a part of a complex sentence. There are two clauses in your complex sentence. One of them is conditional clause, which starts with if, okay? And if you bring the if clause first, you need a comma before you start the main clause, the next clause, the independent clause. And if you bring, your main clause or independent clause first, then you do not need a comma because the conjunction goes to the middle of the sentence and is there to separate your two clauses. You do not need a comma. I hope it's clear. Now, the concept. What is the concept? Something must happen first, conditional clause, so that something else could happen in the next clause. Now, the action of reading books is dependent. I must have free time first, then the action can take place. If I do not have free time, obviously, I can't read books, right? So now the action of reading books is dependent on having free time. So your conditional clause shows the idea that something must happen first, so that something else could happen in the next clause. Okay? First, I must have free time, then I can read books. So reading books is something dependent on having free time, okay? Now, a zero conditional clause shows a real condition. It is true about me. It's something that I always do in my life. Therefore, I can say whenever I have free time, I read books. Okay? I mean, reading books, the action of reading books is dependent. I mean, I must have free time first. It is conditional on this state. So have is a state verb. It doesn't show action. The action of reading books is conditional on this state of having free time. So now there may be actions in both clauses. There may be states in both clauses. There may be action in one clause and state in the other clause. So well, it depends. You may have action verbs in both clauses. You may have state verbs in both clauses. You may have action verb in one clause in state. Now, I hope it's clear. You know the idea of, action verbs and state verbs, right? Action verbs show what? Physical actions. State verbs show what? State. State of emotions, state of ownership, state of existence, a state of desire, right? Okay, something like that. So now, something is conditional on something else. So condition here doesn't mean like situation, like halat, okay? Condition here means like shart. Something is conditional, mashrut budan, okay? So something must happen first, conditional clause. So something else could happen, that is main clause, okay? So your main clause expresses something that is conditional on something in it's a conditional clause or if clause, right? So we can use whether instead of if, and if it's zero conditional clause, we can use when or whenever as well, okay? And we talk about something that is true, that is real. We talk about a real conditional clause when we use a zero conditional clause. We talk about a real, condition. For example, I'm asking you that what do you do if you have free time? I'm not asking you about something in the future. I'm not asking you about something in the past. This idea should be very clear. I told you at the beginning that the reason I decided to teach you conditional clauses one by one, because it's very, very important to know conditional clauses. And you should know each conditional clause and the purpose, for which purpose it is used. Because type 1 is used for a different purpose. Type 2 is used for a different purpose. And type 3 is used for a different purpose. Each conditional clause is used for a different purpose, okay? So if I say, what do you do if you have free time? I'm not asking you about your action in the past or in the future. I'm asking about your regular, action activity. Whenever in your lifetime, whenever you have free time, what's your habit? What do you do? Regularly, habitually, okay, gradually. What do you do if you have free time? And you're telling me if I have free time, whether I have free time, when I have free time, or whenever I have free time. You can use all of these words, right? As conjunctions. If I have free time, I watch TV. If I have free time, I play PUBG game, which is very common nowadays, unfortunately, in our country. If I have free time, I, for example, read books. If I have free time, I work on Facebook. Yeah. If I have free time, I read letters. So that's your habit. But what you do is your habit, okay, that is conditional on having free time. Now, if I ask you, what do you buy if you have extra money? So now, when I ask this question, some students say, if I have extra money, I will buy a car. If I have extra money, I buy cars. See, no, that's not a logical answer. Whenever you have extra money in your pocket, habitually, what do you do with that money? What's your habit? So some people may like to buy new clothes. Some people may want to go to restaurants, and some people may have the habit of something different, right? So keep in mind, the concept is that when we use zero conditional clause, we talk about something that is true, that is real, that happens in our daily life, okay? Whenever I have extra money, I buy books. So it's logical, it's true. This is my habit. This is true about me. Okay? So zero conditional clause is used to talk about a real condition. But still something is conditional on something else. I hope this much is enough, and I hope the concept is clear now. So now you know there must be simple present tense in both clauses, okay? And if you use the if clause first, then you need a comma. If you use the main clause first, you do not need a comma. Instead of if, you can use these words as well, right? Okay, it's clear. Now, one more thing, and I should have explained that before in the concept. It's related to structure. If you want to change your sentences, your complex sentences from affirmative form to negative or interrogative or WH questions, what you should do, okay? That's remaining. We need I need to explain that too. So now, if you want to change this complex sentence to negative form or interrogative form, you do not bring any change in if clause. You leave the if clause alone, okay? You bring changes in your independent or main clause. How do you know the difference between your dependent and independent clauses here? Your if clause is dependent, and it starts with the conjunction if. In the other clause, which starts with the subject, it is main clause or independent clause. So when you want to change this sentence to a different form, you need to bring changes in. So what tense is this? Simple present tense. Okay, I read books and I don't read books if I have free time. So this is how you make it negative. You do not bring any changes in if clause, okay? And if you want to make it interrogative, do I read books if I have free time? And of course, at the end, you need a question. Right? Do I read books if I have? Okay? And you can make it negative interrogative. Negative? So now you have two forms of negative interrogative sentences. Complete form and short form. So if you want to use the complete form, do I not read books if I have free time? And use a question mark. Okay? So negative interrogative, complete form. But the short form of negative interrogative sentences is very, very common in spoken English. And I encourage you to use the short form in your spoken English. So instead of do I not, we say don't. Don't I read books? Yes, if I have free time. Don't I read books if I have free time? Okay? And now information questions. How, when, where? Okay? For example, why do I read books, and then you just go on with, the rest of this. Why do I read books if I have free time? Where do I read books if I have free time? Okay, how do I read? Okay, and in information questions, again, you can use negative interrogative form. For example, why do I not read books if I have free time? Negative interrogative, complete form, and information questions. Okay, why don't I read books if I have free time? So there are many different forms, right? So I'm going to just put one negative interrogative form in WH questions, which is very common in spoken daily English, and that is the short form, okay? Why don't I read books if, yes, if I have free time? So I hope everything is clear now. Okay, one of my students asked me before we started the recording if he could ask his questions during the recording. And I told him that it's my habit. Usually I explain each grammatical point by giving a lot of details, and by the end of the explanation there is no question. But if you still have any question, feel free to ask your question even during the recording. It's not a problem. Everything is clear?
Yes.
Is everything clear? Okay, so you got the point, right? You don't talk about anything in the future. You don't talk about anything in the past, okay? So I told you, and I want to say this again, if I were to teach you both zero and type 1, so of course in type 1 we use future tense, right? If I have a lot of money, I will do something, I will. So the students are kind of confused. So now I want you to think about something that you do in your daily life, habitually, regularly, gradually, okay? So if you have extra money, what do you do? If you have free time, what do you do? If you don't study hard, what happens? Okay? If you study hard, what happens? Okay? If you get a high score on TOEFL, IBT exam, what do you do? So now even this sentence is not very logical. Why? Because TOEFL test is not taken like on daily basis or regularly, so it's taken like once, in a few years. So that's not real. So think about something that happens in your daily life habitually, regularly, or gradually. Okay, everybody try to give me an example. Come on. Yes?
If I receive my salary, I will buy a pair of.
See, here's the example. He says, if I receive the salary, I will. So he's using conditional clause type 1.
I buy a pair of shoes.
Yeah. If I get my salary, I buy shoes for myself. Whenever I get my salary, I buy shoes for myself. So it means that each month, you buy a pair of shoes. Think about it. I told you. Say something that is true. If you don't know how to use zero conditional clause, say something that is true. If you lie, zero conditional clause doesn't accept it. So now think about it. Is it logical? Is it okay to say if I get my salary, I buy a pair of shoes? It means that each month you buy a pair of shoes, which is not logical. Even the son of Donald Trump doesn't buy, a pair of shoes each month, at least after a few months, right? Okay? So I told you, zero conditional clause doesn't accept your imagination or your lie. Say something that is true. Come on.
If you exercise more, you win the match.
Yes, if you exercise a lot, you can make big muscles. If you exercise a lot, you become healthy. Yes.
If I find free time, I ask a question in the final.
Yeah, about the final exam. Yep.
If I have phone, I charge.
I charge it every day. Yes.
If it rains, the earth gets wet.
Yeah, gets wet. Yeah, that's right. It's 100% true.
If you study hard, you can get high score.
Yes, perfect. See, it's true. If you study hard, you can get high score. So you talk about something that is real. Yep.
If you speak a lot, we learn our language.
Yeah, if we speak a lot, we improve our, English. See, you can use the modal auxiliary can as well. If we practice a lot, we can improve our English. That's also possible. That's still zero conditional clause. Mm-hmm. Yep.
If I
wake up early, I do pray.
Yeah, if I wake up early, I pray or I perform the prayer. That's right. But if you don't wake up early, you can't. So obviously you miss it. See, now you can say it the other way around. If I don't wake up early, I miss my praying. Okay? You may have a positive form, you may have negative form in your two classes. Yep.
If we try a lot, we can be a fluent speaker.
Yeah, if we try a lot, we will be. I'm sorry, no, it becomes type 1. If we try a lot, we can improve our English. If we try a lot, we can speak English fluently. Something like that, yeah.
If you see me, I escape.
Yeah, if you see me, I escape.
If I face with a problem, I leave in the class.
Yeah, if I face a problem, don't say with. If I face a problem, I leave the class. So this is your habit, which is not a good habit.
If you talk a lot, you become tired.
Yes, you become exhausted, you become tired. And now, we're not gonna record that part, but after we are done with the recording, in pairs, you will be practicing zero condition class. Like you ask questions from each other. What do you do if you have free time? And then you answer. And then the other partner is asking that question, like, what do you buy if you have extra money? Where do you go? Where do you go if you have free time? If you have a vacation, or for example, if you have a day off from your work, where do you go? Okay, which city do you visit if you have the chance? Okay, got the point? So this is how we will keep practicing for a while. After we're done with the recording. This much recording is enough. Have a great time. Bye-bye.